Wednesday, January 26th, 2011. I've got book reviews today, only two again. What keeps happening is I keep starting books and then having to stop them so that I can start new books for classes for the next week. So I've got a giant back catalog of mostly read books. So when I get some time, I'll finish those off and get those in. But for now, there's only two. I'm going to start off with Wizard of Earthsea, read for my children's lit class by Ursula Le Guin. It's caused a bit of controversy in the wake of Harry Potter, just because there are some similarities, but I assure you this is not in any way the same story. A young boy who doesn't realize he has magical powers, gets found out, goes to a school for, wizards, and has to face off against a great darkness and all that. It's a fairly standard plot. I wouldn't say that it's original even to this, but it's a good book. I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5. It raises some interesting ideas about identity, particularly if you're a fan of Otto Rank and his dream archetypes. The Shadow is pretty much the entire exploration within this book, him trying to reconcile the dark parts of himself and all that. It's a quick read, 180 pages or something like that. I got through it in a weekend. Check it out if you like fantasy. Next, I have volume 1 of Y: The Last Man. Great graphic novel. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. It's really entertaining to me because I can just see sort of feminist critics picking it up and having a field day with it. Basically, every man on Earth except one dies, and everything goes to hell, chaos everywhere. Then he shows up and things start going back to normal. It's really, I could have a easy time doing a feminist critique of this, and I'm by no means a feminist. What really caught me though is the way that they panel it. It's really interesting at some points where, it'll start off with right now, and then it'll go back to 29 minutes ago and give you 5 different stories, and then when it gets right back to now, it gives those 5 stories in like successive panels where it's like 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and then now. It's very well thought out, very well written, very interesting, and I think I'll definitely stick along with the series. That's it for my books, really. Check out full reviews later tonight on my blog, as usual. In terms of life in general, I've been having a lot of deja vu lately. I don't know if it has anything to do with my lack of sleep recently or some other factor, but it's kind of freaking me out. Especially since we were talking about issues of past and present colliding in my Canadian Lit class yesterday. It's sort of messing with my mind a bit. Last night I went over to Eleanor's again. We went to Zach's, which was fun. Apparently they play Looney Tunes there now, which is entertaining. You can sort of see the disconnect between acceptable media for children then and acceptable media for children now. There's a lot of extreme violence that you wouldn't even remember coming from that era, and definitely a lot of racism and stuff like that evident in those cartoons. On our way back, we had a fun little moment. We cut through a McDonald's through the Rideau Center, and for some reason they were playing like elevator music, and it seemed very much like a museum, and we came to this section where there were holes and wires in the wall, and it just very much seemed like a modern art version of McDonald's, and I couldn't help but think of like 500 years in the future when they exhume, the ruins of a McDonald's and give a tour of that. I think it would be interesting. That's about it. Lots of other things going on, but nothing really interesting. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow.